Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Monday, January 26th, last week of the month. And then we are in February. First week, first month. That went fast. Um, and so far, we have avoided the big sell-off like a crazy this first couple of weeks of excitement and then a big sell-off. Doesn't mean nothing can happen this first month or this first 3 months until the March, April. Usually it's could be pretty dicey, but at this point, it looks like the overall sentiment is to the upside, holding on to the gains. Every time you have headlines and stuff like that, yeah, you get market reactions to it. But so far, we're not getting that, yeah, be correcting in correction territory or anything like that. We had an interesting open yesterday. They gapped down, I guess, probably for that shooting, the nurse shooting in Minnesota, and market gapped down, and then they basically pretty much recovered in the overnight. They're right back up again. And it's just, I don't think any of those things really impact the markets per se. There could be something else as well out there in terms of it has to do with this Iranian news, what's going on there. It's hard to say. I mean, I was a little surprised about the gap down. I could see it on the crypto prices. The cryptos were crashing on Sunday, well before the market opened. I figured, like, yeah, it's going to be a week open, and yep, the gap down. So if you wanted to get the head start on what may be going on, cryptos is turning into one of those ahead of the curve kind of risk off, kind of risk on, risk off kind of gauges. It is volatile for sure, but it tends to give you a little sense of what may be happening, what may be coming, if you wish. So in news this week, we got a fair amount of stuff going on. I think the biggest thing is going to be the Fed meeting beginning on Tuesday, announcement on Wednesday. Today we get durable goods at 8:30, Chicago Fed Nationality Index as well. Dallas Fed manufacturing at 10:30. And that's about it. So not a whole lot of news today. Tomorrow we get consumer confidence, new home sales, Richmond Fed, and the Fed meeting begins, of course. Wednesday, durable goods, retail inventories, wholesale inventories. The Fed announcement, that's going to be the big thing on Wednesday. Thursday, jobless claims, productivity, factory orders. Friday, PPI final. PPI final. Okay, so we may get a PPI read on Friday. It's interesting. No CPI, but a PPI. Maybe get the CPI next week then. So that's what we've got going on the week. So I think the biggest thing is going to be on Wednesday, the Fed announcement. And probably then on Thursday, we're going to have some kind of a digestion and fallout depending on what the news is. I don't know if they have a quarter point cut in where the consensus is there right now. I'll find out by the time I get there. I think more the consensus is probably just holding it steady, given what's going on right now. We'll see. We'll see. We're just going to trade what we see anyway. So starting off today with this gap down like we had, I was concerned if they couldn't, that we're going to have a pretty weak overnight. But right now we're right back up again. So I mean, I'm going to just start off range bound, keeping an eye on if this overnight is just a reversal back to value or something like that, and this maybe the day session is going to prove us otherwise and run this right back down again. And we'll find out. But right now, I'm going to start up range bound. I'm going to just watch these support areas. And I'm going to watch these three ones. So the 69.25s, the 15s down to the 6900s. If they take out these three, then I'm going to be right back on a short side pretty aggressively, I think, and see if they're going to try to take this lower. So looking to buy early weakness against the 69.35s, 25s, 15s, and the 10s or 6900s for the rotations back down. And looking to sell resistance against the 69.50s, the 60s, 70s. And then I'm going to be leaning in, looking at those 85s, the 90s here, those skinny ones. The takes at 68, 90 is going to be up here against these upper areas. But I'm thinking if they can get out past that 70s, which looks like a little low volume area right now, if they can get up above that, we may have a shot at getting back into a test of the highs, maybe even higher. So this area right there, 69.70, turning into a little low volume area, stalling activity. And if they can get up above it, yeah, but we may have a shot at retesting the highs here. So we'll see. But that's, I think, the way we're going to start this. And we'll see how the sentiment is, if that gap down had any follow through in the day session, or if anything, any of that is was important at all. But that's always, you had to kind of wonder when the market does that. But reversing right back to the mean, yeah, okay, or to value, basically yesterday's value area, then I think we are, or Friday's value area, then I think we are pretty much in back to where we started. So if that has any importance, I think you'll see them take out these areas of support pretty quick, at least before the London close, and then start heading lower. If this start happening in the afternoon, well, then I think it's just afternoon weakness, and we just stay on the short side anyway. But looking for those three, looking to buy against these three support areas doesn't mean that you're not going to ignore buying against the 82s or the 80s, 70s as they take this lower. I would just look at those support areas a lot less aggressively, you know. So once they take out that 6,900, I'm going to stay on the short side and see how far I want to take it. And on the way up, if they take out the 70s, I'm probably going to stay on the long side and see how far they want to take it. Also, given there, you have resistance at 80, 90, 7,000, 7,015 here. And of these could potentially hold and stall the market as well. So we'll see how this whole thing shakes out, but that's kind of how we get started. Range bound trading, watching these lower edges, looking for that early weakness in case this gap down in the overnight had any further meaning, which market's going to run back down and try to test that. So that's how we get started. Looking at the NASDAQ. Also pretty good gap to the downside on the NASDAQ. Reversal right back up here again. They are right here trading in this upper range again. So right back to the attractor here at this the 25,700s. So again, I would look to buy weakness on the Nasdaq as well, starting off range bound. Looking to buy against the 630s, 590 to 600s, 540s. I'll give it one level down here at the 470s for the Nasdaq, a little bit lower than the obvious support area. But if you take out that 480s, I'm going to be back on the short side on Nasdaq, same as on the ES. So looking to buy against 630s, 590 to 600s, 550s, 540 to 50s, and down to that 470 to 480s for rotations back up. And on the way up, looking for short setups against the 750s, against the 840s for rotation down. Now, if they start taking out the 840s, I would give it one level out 870s as well. You can include that upper area. If these two resistance area comes out, I will be back on the long side in a big way, just to look to see if they can take this higher. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now. And then we'll see. The only thing, the caveat I have really is the if that gap down is going to have any influence on the day session, and they're going to want to run down and test the lows there. That could be a pretty gnarly one. But as I said, if they take out the 480s, I'm back on the short side of this. And if support holds here at the very lows at the 360, they retest that very low on the gap down low, and then I will be watching that, but not very aggressively buying it until I see them reversing it. And that could be one of those things, you know, they run it hard down just to hit it and then reverse it right back up again. It could be one of those tests as well. We've seen that happen with Nasdaq a few times, so you just have to be a little bit cautious about that. But it's in the bigger picture, though, I'm below that 480s, 470, 480s. I understand the short side until they get back above it again, if they will, you know. So that's the way I'm approaching Nasdaq this morning. And then finally, looking at the bonds. Bond market is slowly grinding higher. So they're trading back up again. A slow grind to the upside. And in the bigger picture, you can see that they're right back here in this low volume area at 116 again. So they are back up. This rotation down here we had going on for a while. We were down here we were all the way down here you get no, that's a different split. Yeah, so we started here heading lower, took it all the way down to 1324, and now they're heading back up again. And I would just look for this as that was that Greenland thing, which start taking it lower. And now they're back up here looking at the 116. So let's see how far they can take it on the upside. And I would start off with a slight bias to the upside, looking to buy weakness, or looking to buy against the 22-23s, the 19 to 20s. And I would look for below the 1920s. I would just take off any long bias and just go back range bound. But initially looking to buy early weakness on the bonds down to that 15, 18 to 20s or 19 to 20s. And on the way up, looking for short against the 116s, 1608s for rotations back down. It is like less than the point range in the sessions right now. So it's just had to be, don't expect big moves. When it moves, it moves. So if you find a good edge to lean against, take it and just have to be patient. So that's how we approach the bonds this morning. The fact that the prices are going higher just means that the yields are coming down a bit. So that we'll take that. Alrighty, guys. So back to the ES. So this Monday, we're going to start off pretty range bound, just watching that gap down from the overnight and see if that had any further influence on the day session. And let's see if this retracement actually gets further strength. It could very well be that this retracement gains a little bit further strength and we see a strong day. Just have to wait and see how the whole thing develops. But sometimes when you get this gap down like that, they'll make an effort to run down and test it, and that's the one I'm watching for. If that's going to start happening or not. All right, guys, we'll wrap it there. So I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update. Good trading, and I'll see you guys back then.